Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of my channel. And in today's episode I'm going to be talking about how to show strong home tie during F1 visa interview. If you've not subscribed to my channel, do not forget to do so by clicking on the subscribe button below. Remember, I make amazing videos about my experience as an international student in the United States, and this is going to be the third video in my F1 visa interview series. If you're preparing for your F1 visa interview, you should not forget to check out my playlist on F1 visa interview because they contain valuable information that can help you prepare for your interview. You should know that whenever you appear before a visa officer at the United States Embassy for your visa interview, the default thought that is in the mind of the visa officer or the person that is interviewing you is that you're trying to run away from your country.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
That's how they've been trained to think about visa applicants. Like this person that is coming into interview, they are coming in because they want to run away from their country. Now it becomes much more complicated for people that are in the third world country like Nigeria or several other countries in Africa or some part of Asia or some part of the Middle East. Okay, that's not far-fetched because a lot of people that have left, or a lot of people that have applied for visa, be it visiting visa or education visa, and visited the United States, they choose not to come back. So the default idea in every visa officer's mind is that this person is also trying to leave the country and not come back. Now your primary goal during your F1 visa interview is to convince the visa officer that you're going to come back. Doing that might be easy or hard depending on several things. So some of the things that I'm going to talk about in this video, there are ways for you to show that you have a very strong home tie, that whenever you're done with your education, that you're coming back. The goal of showing strong home tie is to point out that you have a reason to come back to your country when you're done with your education, no matter how long it takes. Now I'm going to itemize some of these things. Some of them, they would apply to you as a student. Some of them would not apply to you as a student. But in all, it's supposed to give you an idea of what you're supposed to say during your visa interview. For instance, you have an admission from a university in a not so known school in America, okay? And you are going there to study English language, for example, right? Let's say you are coming here to like a grade C school, a school that is not popular, to study English language at the first degree level. Okay, that's gonna be a hard sell because who spends millions of naira to study English language and then come back to Nigeria to teach English language? It sounds interesting to most like people. When you say it, they'll be like, Or you say something like you are coming to the United States to study accounting. These are things that you can easily study in your home country without spending millions of naira. So automatically, you are moving far away from establishing the prospects of job when you get back to your country. That's not to like say some courses are not good. It's just that the chances of establishing home ties with some courses are better as compared to some other courses. Okay, so that's one thing you really want to think about. Now, the first thing is, whenever you appear for interview, whenever they ask you why, tell them, always establish how the course is going to benefit you when you come back to Nigeria. Okay, so they might ask you something like, what will this course do for you? Right, so you don't want to say, oh, it's going to help me get a degree and then I'll get a job in America and I'll make money. That's not the idea. The idea behind that question is for you to show that I'm going to go to the United States, get the best education that I can get on planet Earth, and then I'm coming back to my country to make a lot of money. So take for instance, if they ask you, what would this degree do for you? You might say something like, well, in my current job, I work as a survey engineer. Getting a master's degree in geosurvey or whatever will equip me to better function in my current role when I come back to Nigeria. You see, you're crafting the idea of coming back in your response. Okay, that's the ultimate goal of questions like that. Whenever they ask you what the degree is going to do for you, you really want to package your answer in such a way that it points back to you coming back to Nigeria. They would never ask you, will you come back to Nigeria? No. Such question would not come up, okay? But you have to be sensitive to when they ask questions that you can package your answer in such a way that it points back to the fact that you intend to come back after your degree. Okay, an example of such question would be, what's your plan after graduation? right? You don't want to say, well, I'm just going to get a job in the United States and, you know, enjoy life, start a family, and, you know, let's see what happens, become a citizen, blah, blah, blah. Ultimately, that's going to get you a very fast rejection.
Get out of here. Get out of here, man.
Now, the point of questions like that is to show what you intend to do after graduation, right? When you answer questions like that, you want to package it in such a way, you want to package your response in such a way that it points back to the fact that you intend to come back to Nigeria. Okay, so you might say, oh, why are you going to the United States to study aeronautical engineering, for example? Then you can say something like, well, aviation industry in Nigeria is booming. This is the appropriate time to get a foreign education because there are so many opportunities in Nigeria to practice aviation when I come back, you know, things like that. So that's the first thing. You must always present your answer in such a way that it points back to the fact that you're coming home. The second way to approach or to establish a strong home tie is by talking about your family. Okay, so family is very, very important, right? Because if you're going to the United States, if you're not going with your, for instance, it's just you, right? You're not going with your parents, you're not going with your siblings. If you have a child or a wife, you're not going with any of those. It's important for you to mention people that you have back home, reasons why you have to come back home. You should find a way to answer your question so that it's going to link back to, oh, like you have your parents in Nigeria, you being the firstborn, it's your responsibility to take care of them when they grow old, you know, things like that. Oh, your wife is going to be in Nigeria taking care of the kids. You intend to come back as often or as fast as you can so that you can continue to enjoy life with your family. Okay, so things like that, they point to the fact that you're not neglecting what you have going on yet. It points to the fact that you have something going on here. Okay, it points to the fact that you have a responsibility to come back to this country to cater for, to Nigeria to cater for. Okay, so things like family, things like your parents, things like your siblings, things like your wife, your children, a job that you have. That's another thing that you can use to establish a strong home tie. Like if you have a job, you can tell them, well, this education is gonna get me, is gonna prepare me for an advancement in my career when I get back. You see, that's a very strong home tie. You can, if you have a business going on for you, you can say, well, I'm getting this MBA because by the time I come back, I'm gonna be very, very good at managing my business. Okay, I'm not just abandoning my business to move to the United States. I'm going there to get an education that's going to make me a better person when I come back. You see, these are things that they would not ask you direct questions about it, but they will structure the question in such a way that if you know what you're doing, you would provide an answer that would make them understand that you intend to come back. Now, this other point that I'm about to share with you would not apply to everybody. Take for instance, most people that are coming for master's degree, they don't have an assets in Nigeria. They don't. It's not like they have a house or they have like business that is booming and they're trying to leave to come get a master's degree. It's not gonna apply to most people. But if you have an asset, let's say you have a large piece of land or a house or like a thriving business, it is also important to incorporate things like that when you're presenting your response. Okay, so because the key thing is to show that you have something going on for you here. Okay, so really that's most of the things that can help you show that you have a strong home tie to your country. Okay, assets, number 1, job prospect, number 2, family, number 3, number 4, establishing that the sole purpose of going to the United States is because you want to study, okay, and not just because you're tired of Nigeria, you want to go there and just enjoy life. You know what I mean? So the point is, if you're able to pass across those 4 things in your response whenever questions that relates to home tie comes up, then you're good. That's it. You've done your job perfectly. Also, when you are applying for grad school, you should think about really for your own personal reasons too, like beyond F1 visa interview. You should think about why you're getting the degree in the first instance. It sounds tricky, but you should think about that yourself. It's a question that you should be able to answer yourself, because think about going to like a not so known school, like somebody leaving their country to come to a not so known school in your country. Obviously everyone is gonna be like, why is this person coming to study in this trash school, right? And then when they're done, it's gonna be much more difficult for them to get a job because they went to a very trash, unknown, unpopular school, right? So, well, they got a degree in some unknown random course. You know what I mean? So these are things that you should think about while you're applying for schools too. I know a lot of people just like submit applications, they don't think about that phase, right? So coming to grad school or leaving your country for the United States, it has a whole lot of processes, okay? And each of this each point in time, they all key into one another. If you get admitted into a really good school, if you get funding, then your life becomes easier as far as visa interview is concerned, right? Because, well, you've given the visa officer an impression that they really want you in that country, right? But if you get admitted into a trash school and you are paying a whole lot of money to get that degree, that sounds so absurd. You're gonna find it difficult to scale through the visa interview. Okay, so these things, they also like work together in a way, one way or the other. Well, that's all I have for you in this episode. Remember to check out other videos in this playlist about my F1 visa interview tips. I'm gonna link it somewhere. I'm also gonna add it in the description box so that you can see like other videos in this playlist. And also, if you've not subscribed to the channel, do not forget to do so by clicking on the subscribe button below. Do not forget to share the video with your friends and family. Do not forget to drop a comment if you have any specific question that you would like for me to answer, okay? And I'll see you in the next episode.